Hi, Professor Fishkin. It's IrenePerez. Okay, so I'm doing the other extra credit assignment, which is talking about one of the parts of my paper for HSC. And I'm also going to be talking about, why I got into this or why I decided to change professions in the future by going into nursing. So the section that I want to talk about is unemployment. And, as I expected, there's going to be an increase in the need or in the amount of positions for nursing in the future, which is good. It's actually very good in Florida. It's 21%. I don't know if I'm always going to stay in Miami, but it doesn't matter because this is for Florida. One of the things, though, that concerned me, or actually there's a few things that concerned me, is the starting pay for registered nurses. I was shocked when I found, and in my paper I put, let me see, I think it said about $25 and change per hour, and I was shocked at that because there's a lot of schooling. You have to have a bachelor's degree to become a registered nurse, and I was just very surprised at that, and also the level of responsibility that a registered nurse has and the fact that she can be supervising other nurses. Which I'm sure that wouldn't happen to start out with, but I was very surprised, and I thought that it would be different than teaching. Teaching is a profession that had it start out, it was a woman's profession, and nursing as well. Nursing, of course, started out to be mainly a woman's profession, and I'm surprised that in these fields that were mainly women professions in the past, that they are still what I would consider on the lower pay scale for their contributions to society as well, their level of expertise that's required, their impact on society, and I feel that that these are not being valued by the looks of the entry-level pay. And another thing that I was surprised to find when I was doing my research is when I went and I looked into jobs. It wasn't just about finding the number of jobs, but I actually started opening them up to see what was required. And I noticed that the majority of positions, especially ones with like Baptist health systems, they required at least a year, sometimes 2 years of experience in a certain expertise. So not only did they require you to be an RN, but they also required additional certifications on top of that, plus a year or two of experience. So I was really surprised about that. It made me a little concerned with the prospects of finding a job. Where do entry-level registered nurses find jobs? What are their jobs going to be like? So I still have some unanswered questions that I'm going to do some more research into. And let me see. So I guess the other part of that concerned me, since there are these additional certificates and things that they want an RN to have, I don't know how long it takes to get those. I know that I don't know if I'm going to be satisfied with just being an RN. That's why I mentioned the nurse practitioner. So, I'm going to see how that goes. Am I up to it? Am I happy where I'm at when I do find a job, when I do get my degree, and I do have a job in that? Another thing that I'm just concerned about is, since I am transitioning from one career to another, the fast track at Miami-Dade So if you already have a bachelor's degree and you're taking an accelerated track into the through the RN program, it's a full-time program. I think I read it was 3 semesters. So I'm going to have to make some plans for how I am going to survive regarding health insurance, regarding paying my bills, and things like that. So I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do that. So I will see. I know that where I work, I can take a 1-year leave of absence, which is what I will do. So I won't give up my teaching job from the start, from the get-go. I will take a leave of absence from there, and then I will go ahead and do my nursing program. Hopefully that will be okay with them. I know that the high school that I teach at also has a nursing strand. I teach at Coral Reef Senior High, which is an all-magnet school. So one of their areas is medical. And so I'm hoping that I might be able to get around that, or take my leave of absence and get it all authorized by approaching it maybe from that direction as well. Currently, not only am I taking all of these classes that I'm taking now, your class, anatomy and physiology, your lab, the lab that goes with anatomy and physiology, but I've also been taking a master's degree class at the University of Miami, and that is an education class. So I'm also working on a master's degree in education, because my ultimate goal is to teach at the college level, whether, I don't know, Miami-Dade, wherever it is. So, that's even something that, I would like to do in the future as well. Whether it's math, I still like math. It's a shame. I mean, I feel like I'm giving up my math to go into nursing. However, I always wanted to work in the medical field. When I was so to get into my reflection part, when I was in middle school, I took a health care career course, and from that point on, I wanted to do something in the medical field. I kind of went back and forth, dental hygienist, nurse. There was something in dentistry that I wanted to do, but it was something that I always wanted to do. However, I didn't have any guidance when I was in middle school or even high school. When I was in middle school, I also, instead of taking your normal electives, I would double up on electives. And one area that I really loved, I remember loving, was genetics. But I also, now that I have found my way into teaching, I do like working with children or adolescents, teenagers. So I think when I do my nursing, I might want to focus on areas that have to do with kids, maybe even genetics. Let's see. When I was in elementary school, there was a girl that her earring got, I don't know, it kind of got stuck in her ear, and her ear was bleeding. And well, back then, nobody told me that I should put on gloves, but they wanted somebody to help her, and I was the one that helped her get her earring out of, I guess it went through the hole into her earlobe, and I was the one that helped her get that out. Also, I don't know, I guess it might have been about, 20 years ago, 23 years ago, something like that. There was a Nurse for a Day program at Jackson Hospital downtown, and I signed up for that, and I did that. And when I was there, the nurse that I was paired up with, she was looking after a young boy, maybe, I think he might have been like 8 to 10 years old, and he was riding his bike and he was hit by a car. So he had a feeding tube down to his stomach, and he couldn't speak. He wasn't really, okay, fully functioning back yet. And somebody came from downstairs in their, I guess, physical therapy department, and they came upstairs to ask questions about the boy, and you know, and everything about his day and what was happening and about him. And I don't know, the lady ended up talking to me, and at the end of the conversation I let her know that I was just there for the day, and she was surprised. She thought I was a nurse, and she thought I worked there, and I didn't. So I think I have an aptitude for nursing. I'm studying anatomy and physiology now, and I love it. I wish I didn't have to work full time. I'm off for the summer, but I wish I didn't have to work full time, because I would love to just be able to study all of the prerequisite courses that I need without distractions of having to work full time, because teaching can be quite demanding. But I don't know, I've just always had it in me. There was also, whenever there's emergencies, not that I can handle my own emergency, personal emergency myself, but anybody else around me, if anything happens, anything, whether it's medical, I am, I can respond well to emergencies. I'm immediately just focused and problem solving and helping. And I don't know about working in the ER department, but I wouldn't mind giving that a try. I know one day when I was teaching, not that this was an emergency, but there was a student of mine, this was when I taught at middle school, and he came in and he said, you know, Ms. Perez, I can't write. He had a cut. He goes, I have a cut up here on my arm, and I can't write today. And he had already been to a few of his other classes in the day, and I started questioning him about it, and I said, you know, I really think that you should go over to the clinic, because we had a fully functioning clinic with an actual nurse practitioner there, and so I sent him over to the clinic, and the next day he came to me. And he said, Ms. Perez, I just want to thank you so much, because when they looked at it, I had to leave and go get stitches in my arm. And he said there was no other teacher that I guess cared or helped him. So, you know, it's just, I don't know. I guess I just have this care about people, and wanting to make sure they're okay and to help them. So, yeah, so I'm going to give a try at nursing, and see what happens. So thank you for listening. And, I know what you feel like when you talk to us and, we are not there or you can't see us, because it is a little strange to do that. However, I really liked your class. Thank you for being a great professor. You're very good at communication, and there to help your students. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Professor Fishkin. I hope you enjoyed listening to my video. All right, bye-bye.